Greetings, ladies. Sharon Danley here with 2-minute tips for 2 more Make Better reveals. More realistic than makeovers because they're done with real women realistically. Let's get started. And our first contestant. Let's take a look at her before picture. What beautiful salt and pepper hair she has, and lovely brows, and she wonderful, almost Mediterranean look, doesn't she have? But let's see what a little tweaking can do. And here we have it. Look at how the red lips really help to tie everything together, especially with her red top and that beautiful dark salt and pepper hair. What I've done is groomed her eyebrows a little more and just filled them in at the front end and given them more of an arch. I've just added a wee bit more eyeshadow to her eyes, strengthened them in the waterline and on the upper, and evened her skin tone a bit more. So let's take a look before I do that, let's take a look at the guidelines. This is where you can see how I have enhanced her brows where they need to be filled in the arch and in the front ends a little bit. And you can see where I have augmented her lips just a wee bit in the center bottom and brought the Cupid's bow a little bit closer together. So let's take a look now at our gray stripes, because that seems to really help everybody zero in on what we really need to be looking at. So let's do her eyebrows first. Now you can see there wasn't too much to do, just a little bit of grooming and filling in, as I said, in the front ends to fill that in just a little bit more. I know the ombre brow has been very popular, but it goes overboard, I find, and just filling in a little bit more gives the whole eye a little bit more oomph to it. And raising the arch just a little bit makes a big difference. Now let's take a look at her eyes. As you can see, I didn't do too much, but I did just enough just to give it a little bit more weight, very hard to tell, and blended in a little bit more of the eyeshadow on the hooded part of her eyes. Remember, when those who have beautiful hooded eyes, the best thing to do is to really blend. It's essential, especially with this particular look. And also, when you take a look at her eyes, notice how the even canvas around her eyes makes a big difference for those to stand out. Now let's put her brows in together with this, and you can see how the even skin tone and the slightly more weighted brows gives a real oomph to her eyes. All right, let's take a look now at her lips. As I showed you in the guidelines, I didn't change the lips all that much, but I brought the Cupid's bow in, which makes a big difference on a lot of women. I don't think they realize it. And remember, when you want to augment your lips, you do so in the center of the top and or the bottom, not the sides, okay? So now let's take a look at also what else is different. Take a look at her hair. Look at how it has been augmented at the circumference of the crown, and that just helps to pull things up and out a little bit more, gives a little bit more oomph to the overall look that this beautiful woman has. Okay, let's now move on to our next and contestant number 2. Let's pull her up. Lovely woman here with looks like blonde hair. She may be growing it in, I'm not sure. Her eyebrows to me look a little bit heavy for her face, but we can fix that. As you can see, the number one thing that stands out to me here is the weight of her eyebrows, both in color and in shape, also in weight, the thickness of them. That seems to stand out the most. As well, her eyes are pretty good makeup wise, but I've cleaned and even the skin tone around her eyes more, especially underneath. As we age, we get shadows because our skin is moving down, and as it does that, it creates shadows underneath our brows. So the idea is to lighten that up a little bit more, not with concealer, just with the dual powder that I highly recommend. And then if you take a look at her lips, this is another thing for women of a certain age. The best thing you can do with your lips is define them, and that's why I love the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour lip color, because it really does adhere. It doesn't transfer, feather, bleed, anything. And notice too how I have diminished the sheen in her lower lip in the center a little bit, just by adding a little bit more product to the bottom of her lips. Now let's take a look at her guidelines. You can see how she needs to move her brows up a bit more and take a fair bit off the bottom, but it will pay off. And line them up as usual along with the tear duct, nothing else to take into consideration. And her lips I've just left, but I've just defined them more. Alrighty, let's bring our stripes in. And first of all, let's take a look at her brows. Now you can see the difference that just lifting the brow makes, taking that excess weight off underneath and allowing for more of an arch to the eye, and a couple of shades lighter that would look better with her hair. Makes a very big difference. Now, let's take a look at her eyes. She's got lovely eyes, doesn't she? But notice how, I'll come down a little bit more. Again, notice how when you even the skin tone out around the eyes, you allow for the eyes to stand out and become the focus more. And you don't remove the shadow, but you diminish it, you camouflage it. All right, now let's bring her brows into the picture and look at the difference that makes. She has a softer look all over and more approachable, it seems to me. All right, now let's take a look at her lovely lips. Just shorten this a little bit more. And again, all I've done is defined her lips with the same color. And especially you can see the difference in the bottom and the definition along the edge of her upper lip. Because what happens is, when we're older and we have those fine lines around our mouth, if we're using wax-based lipsticks or lipsticks of that nature, or balms or anything else, it will bleed and feather into the fine lines, whereas this won't. Okay, let's take away the stripes and have a better view. Now, what I've done with her hair too is I've not augmented it, excuse me, but I've diminished it a bit because it's very heavy looking at the front, on the before picture. But when I reduce it a bit, it helps to take away from that heaviness from the bangs and the brows of the first picture and just lightens her whole beautiful face up. That's it. 2 more realistic women looking realistically good without a bunch of the nonsense that we are inundated with from the beauty and fashion industries. Keeping it real is the way I like to do things. Now, remember, if you're interested in a private teaching page that we have on Facebook called Going Gray and Loving It, there is the link for you. And I also have a public beauty page that you can, just like and follow as you like. I also do DIYs and crafts and things of that nature for those who may be interested in that sort of thing. And of course, my advocacy and political stuff continues on as it has for 50 plus years. Now, on the page, if you're looking for something, be sure just to click on the search or the playlist. And here are the playlists. There's a number of them that are categorized into same type of videos for like all makeup ones or hair ones or anything of that nature. So you can look through those, and there's just a plethora of information for you to enjoy. Well, thank you for joining me, ladies. I hope that this is helpful to you. As many have indicated, they want to see more of this kind of thing. So remember, though, it's not how much makeup you wear, but how well you wear what you have that counts. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Mwah!